And clap your hands to Brother Daniel, please. Come on. Let your put yourself in the place now. Alright. Brother Daniel?
Thank you.
I think everyone's need to hear a louder voice.
Really?
Tonight.
Alright.
1, 2. Good evening, good evening, good evening. As you know, we as people, when we greet each other, we're a lot more lively than that, and it took a little bit more to get me going. So I'm going to ask you again, because we know some black people have the juice, they have the energy. So, good evening.
Good evening.
Like that, we like that, we like that. So, this evening, it's not going to be the same as the last 3 weeks that we've been doing the presentations in relation to African History Month and the First and Second World War. 4 weeks ago we started from World War I, World War II, and what was the African experience. And we brought it all the way up from 1885 at the Berlin Conference, when there was the scramble for Africa, and we wanted to look at what was the African experience within all of that. And so, whilst we were looking at the African experience, it's been a journey and a really interesting subject to look at, and it's something that I will encourage everybody to take some time out and look at, because our children really do need to know what our story is, because if we don't tell our story, our children will never know. And I say it like that because if you go maybe 14, 15 miles going towards North London, you'll come to a place called Stamford Bridge. And that's called Stamford Hill. And at Stamford Hill, yeah, Chelsea plays there, isn't it? Stamford Hill, you go up there, you have a community of people up there called the Jews. And the Jewish people really teach their children, they really run things up there. If you've never ever been up there and you get a chance, go up there and go and see how the Jewish people live. And they make sure even their little children that are only 5 and 6 and 7, when you see these little Jewish children walking up and down Stamford Hill, you can't even chat to them. And they ain't chatting to you. They're on their mission, and they see themselves as business. And so for me, what I say is that we must share our history with our children and tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because when we keep the journey that we've had away from them, they don't know what is required of them. And so, we've looked at the African experience, and from the African experience, we also brought it from 1885, as I said, 1885 at the Berlin Conference, and we brought it right into the 1900s, and how Africans played a major role. And I'll tell you something, when you really study the history, and you look at it, black people, we're funny. We really are funny. We have fought in every theatre of war for European people. That's what we've done. We fought in the First World War, and even when they were fighting in Africa for the scramble of Africa, we was fighting on different sides, killing off each other. And you have to think to yourself, well, what's wrong with us? And so, we've come up into World War I from there, and we looked at World War II. And we looked at World War II, and our parents coming here via the Windrush, and those great people who fought in the Second World War, and decided that, you know, they was gonna, well, Europe decided that they were gonna go and beat up Hitler, and decided to get some of their colonial people then to come and help them to do their business. And although we've done the business, and we can celebrate the business that we've done, and we have to value that heritage because it's there, it's written, it's recorded, it's a fact. within that, we have to ask ourselves the question, as we come out of 1948 and come into the 50s, the 60s and the 70s, what was our experiences? And we explored that. Last week, we looked at some of those experiences. And we brought it right up until 1980, last week, right up to 2014. And I did it in a chronological order because I wanted us to understand that there has not been a decade since we've been in this country. And I'm only talking in this country. There hasn't been a decade that there hasn't been some kind of uprising. Not in this country. From the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000. We have had continual flux of issues and problems as we have been here as a people. And so today, I wanted us to look at something slightly different because I want to end off with us asking our own selves some questions in relation to who we are. Because Garvey said it, a people without a knowledge of themselves is like a tree without no roots. It's dead. And we've got to become a living people rather than a dead people. And we really need to think about what is it about us why we find ourselves in the positions and in the situations that we're in. And then also look at what is it that we can do. And I'm hoping that out of this little part of the presentation that we can get a sense of what we can do. And so African history is our history. It's our history. African history is our history. Can you say that for me? African history
is our history.
African history
is our history.
Come back one more time. African history
is our history.
Let's not forget it. It's ours. Own it. If you don't own it, you don't know what to do with it. And then you start to value everybody else as being better than you. And I'm telling you this, ain't no one better than me. No one. None. And so therefore, we must see ourselves as walking in the best way that we can. So, we've looked at Garvey, and I like Garvey. He does a lot of things for me. And that's the reason why I'm going to start off with Garvey. This is the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Messiah Garvey and what he stood for and what he was saying at the time. And this was an African who decided that he was going to leave Jamaica and travel to America to look at the condition of black people wherever we were. And he went around the world, and when he saw the condition of the black man, he asked, where is the black man's government? Where is the black man's God? And he couldn't find none. And so he said, well, I will be the leader then. And he took it on. And he rose up. Over 5 million people in the United States of America and shook up America. And they really didn't love him there until the United States government decided to put a counterintelligence program to mash up the Garvey movement. And so, I'm going to read something. No, I'm not going to read it. I'm going to ask one of you to read it. Because I think this will lay the base for where I want to go. Sis, come. Now, give my sister a round of applause for coming. Now, I never really liked the round of applause there. No, stop. sister a round of applause. Yeah. This is called Negroes robbed of their history. This is Marcus Garvey in Bond for Me Bond. So I'm only telling you what he said, because this is what Daniel said, this is what he said. So, do you want that, sis? Oh, you want to work, please? Come on. We work as a team.
The white world has always tried to rob and discredit us of our history. They tell us that the Tutankhamun, amen, a king of Egypt who reigned from about
1,350 BC.
From 1,350 BC before Christ, was not the Negro, that the ancient civilization of Egypt and the pharaohs were not our race, but that doesn't make the truth unreal. Every student of history of imperial mind and partial mind knows that the Negroes once ruled the world when white men were savages and barbarians living in caves. Thousands of Negroes, professors,
thousands of Negroes, professors
at the time were taught in the universities of Alexandria. Then the seat of learning that ancient Egypt gave to the world civilization, and that Greece and Rome have robbed Egypt of their arts and letters and taken all the credit to themselves. It was not surprising, however, that white men should resort to every means to keep Negroes in ignorance of their history. It would be the great shock to their pride to admit to the world today that 3,000 years ago black men excelled in government and were the founders and teachers of arts and science and literature. The power and sway we once held passed away, but now in the 20th century we are about to see a return of it in the rebuilding of Africa. Yes, a new civilization, a new culture shall spring up from among our people, and the Nile shall once more flow through the land of silence. Spring up from among our people, and the Nile shall once more flow through the land of science, art, of literature, wherein will live black men of the highest learning, the highest accomplished. Professor George A. Cossall, head of the Harvard Boston expedition in Egypt, Sudan, returned to America early in 1923, and after describing the genius of Ethiopians in their high culture during the period of 750 BC and 350 AD in Middle Africa, he declared the Ethiopians were not African Negroes. He described them as dark-coloured race, showing a mixture of black blood. Imagine the dark-coloured man in the middle of Africa being anything else but a Negro. Some white men, whether they be professors or whatnot, certainly have a wide stretch of imagination. The above statement of the professors supports my contention at all times that the prejudice against us as Negroes is not because of our colour, but because of our condition. If black men throughout the world as a race will render themselves so independent and useful as to be sought out by other race groups, it will simply mean that all the problems of the race will be smashed to pieces and the Negro will be regarded like anybody else, and a man to be respected and admired.
Thank you very much, sis. Now, if you can go and get that book, The Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, I'd say to you, go and get it. Young people, I would say to you, get this book, because it will inform you of that which came before you. And so that lays the basis of where it is that I want to go this evening. And I want to be able to ask you some questions. Now, on Sunday mornings, some of you might still be sleeping at 9 o'clock in the morning, but there's a program that comes on the TV on Sunday mornings by a man by the name of Andrew Marr. I don't know if any of you ever hear it or you watch the news that time of the morning. Well, Andrew Marr is a journalist, and I like to use, in most of the things that I talk about, I always use white scholars to back up some of the things that I might talk about, because sometimes when you start talking about these things, people look at you and think, well, who is you? Who is you? Come on and tell me them things. Well, at the end of the day, if me play something where a white man said, you can't argue with me. You best not argue with a white man. And so what I'm going to show you is that Andrew Marr, this journalist, he had a stroke the other day, but him and Jeremy Paxman, they are Britain's best celebrated journalists, and they're at the top of their game. And so when they go out to do research, you know, they're not like some of the newsreaders who just sit down there and read what everybody else told them. They're man who go and ask questions and dig up things to find out the root of the thing. So Andrew Marr went and done a documentary called The History of the Word. And so today, I want to play you what Andrew Marr has to say. Now remember, we've got our story, and this is his story. But while we listen to his story, our story is also there at the same time. As my dad used to say, you must pick sense. Alright. So, that's why I want you to watch this and have a real listen. And what I'm asking you to do, I mean, listen. Because oftentimes when we watch things, it just goes straight over the top of our head, and it don't even go in our ears. So I'm asking this evening just for us to listen. So I'm going to play you this from Andrew Marr.
Africa, around 70,000 years ago. These people are fully developed modern humans, just like us. Homo sapiens, it means wise man. As hunter-gatherers, we were driven by familiar basic needs: food, water, shelter, and for over 100,000 years we'd been changing, adapting, and struggling to survive. Climate was a big part of this. The Earth shivered its way through ice ages. The skies were darkened by vast volcanic eruptions. The planet grew hotter and drier, then colder and wetter again. And each change challenged mankind to find new ways to survive. Those who did survive emerged tougher, cleverer, and better organized. And in this particular tribe, there was someone special. She was part of one small group of probably fewer than 1,000 people slowly moving towards the northeast coast of Africa.
Journey. It was an endless trek after game and fruit and seeds. Settle down, call anywhere home, and you would starve to death. crisscrossing Africa over tens of thousands of years, dealing with the changing climate and animals rather bigger and faster than they were, people learned the essentials of survival, language, clothing and cooked food, and above all, working together to stay alive. Africa nourished us, but she was always difficult and always dangerous. That other tribes made the same dangerous journey out of Africa. But after studying the evolution of human DNA, scientists have concluded that only one tribe lasted long enough outside Africa to leave a lasting legacy. This is the tribe that made it. They probably hopped from island to island across what is now the Red Sea, arriving in today's Arabia around 65,000 years ago. And amazing as it sounds, almost all of us alive today are related to one woman in this tribe. Of course, we don't know her name, but she was a survivor. And we could call her simply Mother, because there is a tiny genetic mutation in every single person alive today who isn't from sub-Saharan Africa. And scientists have tracked it back to one migration out of Africa, one tribe, one woman. It seems impossible, but whether you're from Aberdeen or Islamabad, Tokyo or New York, Scandinavia, or the Pacific Islands, she is your universal African mother. And the journey didn't end in Arabia because her tribe kept on moving. Step by step, mile by mile, generation by generation, modern humans spread out and slowly colonized the rest of the planet. First, we traveled east along the coast towards India and East Asia. It's reckoned that some of us may have reached Australia 50,000 years ago.
The land bridge that then connected Asia and America wasn't crossed until around 15,000 years ago, but then, quickly, people spread right down through the Americas to the far south. All these journeys were slowed or accelerated by cold or heat or climate change. From the Middle East, another branch of humans headed northwest, arriving in Europe around 45,000 years ago.
Now, I think for me, the interesting bit that I'm kind of concerned with, and that's why I said that this isn't going to be a long one today. But what was the key word you heard out in there? Mother. Mother. He said, every living human being started from one woman. Whether you're from Aberdeen, Scotland, Saudi Arabia, Middle East, Asia, everybody started from one woman. So if it's one woman, my question is then, who are you? And if you are, then what is our responsibility to ourselves now? And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to answer the question for you, because I just think that would be so wrong of me. But what was the key word? Mother. Come on, man, it look like no mother no India. Because it look like someone who knows his mother walk no man. Ask the question again. What's the key word? Mother. So what, you're frightened? You say you need a mother. And where there is woman, there must be a mother. So if he's saying, according to him, 70,000 years ago, that's him saying it, I didn't say it. He said it. 75, you see them all across the bridge and all them kind of something there. You never see nobody but black people. And if he showed you the map that we spread right across the entire planet, it means that at one time, the entire planet, let me hear what I said, the entire planet. The entire planet. What you said? The entire planet. Okay. Was inhabited by who? Little frightened again.
Well, look like me.
Who was it inhabited by? Who was it inhabited by? See, we can't hear the little children, but we can't hear the big people there. Little children, where did we come from, baby?
Africa. That's right.
And I'm asking that question because if I didn't say what was on there. I didn't say it. So now you've got to deal with what he said. How are you going to deal with that? Because what does it mean that you need to do now? And so, for me, I'm going to just split up my room. Like a table wrong at the back there, a table over here, so we can tell you where we're going to do. But crew over here, so. And another crew over here, so. And we're going to have. Could you put that over the back there for me, Kay, on that table at the back there? And so, I'm going to say to you, because I don't want to put words in your mouth, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We can come over here, so. And Julie, can I leave you to do that, please? Ian, those of this side, I want you to kind of work with some of those at the back there, please, Ian. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those of you at the back there, that's you. 8, 9. Could you come over here? And I want you to all sit over there. And what I'm asking you to do is, I want you to think about what does that mean when you hear that every living human being originated from Africans. You've got 5 minutes to get down some of the words that you'd like to get down, and then we'll go from there. So let's get moving. So I'll leave that pen there. Oh, you got one? You sure you got one? All right. And we got a pen over here. We got pens over here. We got a pen over here for you. You need some chairs? Take some chairs over to you. Remember the question, what does it bring up for you when you hear the question, when you hear the answer? What I'll do is I'll help you by playing it again, then that way you can hear it as we're going along. But the question is, what does it mean to you now that you hear that? And what will you do differently now that you've heard that? No. Excuse me. Have I got your attention? How we doing? See, when you start coming like on the ground, full again. What Tony? Like on the spirit now. What man? Lighten up yourself, Papa Marley said. No, me ever asking the question again. Everybody alright? Yeah! Oh, that's what we want for you. You alright? Yeah. Good. Now, please let's give each group a representative from each group who will come up and speak about what was spoken about in their group and what does this mean to them. Because for me, one of the things when we talk about these things is that if we can't personalize it, then it becomes something that's out there. So I want you to personalize it. So, sis, do you need the microphone? Yes. Okay, we're not going to be long. We're really not going to be long. So, if we could just focus on getting this done, and this is going to be finished very, very shortly. So, sis, what did your group have to say in relation to that?
We said that we should be self-government, so that we govern our own selves, because we come under, well, if you look at the, like, the government, British government, American government, they govern what goes on all over the world, in Jamaica, in Africa, in other foreign countries. But I think if you've got your country, you should be able to make your own decisions, right, and not be governed by other people. The second one is educate ourselves in our own culture and our own history, because, like we said, a lot of history is from the European perspective and not from an African perspective. And also, me personally, I think that one of our mistakes as Africans is sending our children to be educated by, because Africa was the centre of education centuries ago, but what they've done, we've been miseducated. England is now seen, England and America is seen as one of the top education institutions. And when you send your children to these institutions, they educate your children in a Eurocentric mindset and a capitalistic mindset. So when these children go back to places in Africa, places in Jamaica, other places in the Caribbean, they are going to govern from a white Eurocentric perspective and not from their own people. So they become just the same as the Europeans. Right? And they're not going to look after the interests of the people in the country, they're going to look after the interests of the Europeans, the slave owners. Right? And we need to be strong and have self-determination. Right? And then also, somebody said universal truth, because the truth that we have now is not universal truth, it's a truth from the Eurocentric perspective, right? And also we need to explore, we've got to explore a lot of things about our own self, our environment, and where we stand and how we're going to move forward, right? And we need to increase our knowledge and wisdom, and we've got to share it amongst ourselves. And one of the things that I notice about us Africans is that we don't have opportunities to come together and discuss things and develop solutions. We don't have any buildings where we can meet to discuss and talk, because a lot of the buildings have been taken over by the churches, right? So there's not the space for us to come together and just be at ease and be at one with each other. right? We need to unite and have trust amongst ourselves. There's a lot of mistrust amongst ourselves. So we've got to unite and we've got to work together for our own good, our own common good and for world good. Right? And we need to, a lot of us have been so impressed that our self-confidence and self-esteem has deteriorated. So we have to work on our self-confidence and our self-esteem and build it up. We've got to know our own selves and we've got to love ourselves, and that will help us to be better people and to increase our confidence as well. Because sometimes what we learn about ourselves is what we've been told by the Europeans. And when you go to school as well, the teacher will tell you you're this or that. And then we've got to, most importantly, communicate with each other. Okay?
Okay. Can we give our sister a round of applause? You're all the way at the back, you've got to come down the front. And I think you should give her a little round of applause and make her feel good, because she gets shy. She gets shy. Come on. Come on. Resistance is futile. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on, don't hide. Let's see how we can do it. Do you want me to hold it up for you? I'll hold it up for you. Here we go. Here's your mic. What do you mean? What, you want me to explain it? Okay.
Okay. We put back the truth because a lot of people don't know our history. Yeah, like I'm going to be honest, I didn't know. If I didn't see that, I wouldn't have known. Yeah? False pretense. When I went to school, I was born over here, but when I went to school, I was taught a lot of different things. I was taught a lot of different things. I wasn't taught. I was taught, as far as I'm concerned, false things. The things I should have been taught, I was not taught. So that's the false thing. Where we come from, Africa, a lot of people, even black people, will say, boy, I'm not African, you know. But you are. So that's why I say we should know where we come from. Yeah? Uphill struggle and have come a long way. The reason why we read that it's about from like know when you've done the first Black history, the second history, the third history, and the fourth one today. We've come a long way to here, and we've still got a long way, so that's why I did that. And the reason why I put feeling proud and feeling strong is because we feel proud having Daniel here. Yeah, no, for real. I'll come here every week just to see you. You're teaching us all this and teaching us the truth and knowing our history. Thank you.
We've got one more group. And where's my group from over here? Oh, Junie. Come on then, sis. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's give some attention to this one.
Right, our group came up with reinforcing that we are the first mothers and fathers of civilization. I used to hear that old saying a long, long time ago, but that video literally reinforces that. And also it made us realise that we were very, very strong. African people are very strong. We're stronger than we really even know, you know. Once we find ourselves, that we can move a lot of mountains. What's that?
Precariousness of life, and when we saw the journey they had to take to come out of Africa and move, the risks that they had to take and how dangerous it was. So the term precariousness, and we're saying it's still precarious right now, but we don't even understand the terrain that we need to navigate in this life.
Yeah, we were saying, because when that lady was walking across the, that time, yeah, that bridge, when the child got stuck, usually we know a lot of people wouldn't take that risk to go back, and then to pick up that child and to lift that child at a height that she couldn't even see where she was going, and her instincts to put her foot in front of each other and guide herself across. That was it was really good, you know. We found a lot of times we have a lot of strength to even protect our own children, our own families. You know, slavery has done a lot of damage to us. Yeah.
And the film raised that we needed to be responsible to ourselves and to others. And what that documentary tells us is that it brings us back to Ubuntu. I am because we are. So it brings us back to that understanding and how we need to care for ourselves more. Because in that time, the way that the man pick up the woman as she's going to live life, as they cared for those children, they showed this natural tightness and instinct that was on a much higher level than we appear to be operating now. There's another page. You want me to do this one? Okay. And another sister said, no man is an island, and no man stands alone. Because we're in a society, when we teach about Ubuntu, I am because we are, and because we are, I am. We have to understand we need a village. Everybody in the village has a role, and everybody has to play their part. And we're in a society that wants you to just be an individual and just think about yourself. And it's harder to survive and thrive if you're just an individualistic. So our sister said, no man stands alone. And we have to, each man is each brother's keeper. So we need to understand that's what we need to do.
We also said about women. I think a lot of problems we have, women have to take more lead now and come out of their shells and start doing it themselves. We need to try and set up little groups that women can come together and men can come together, because we have to. We're our first teachers to our children. We empower them, and they have to see security, love, all these things, you know. And the women really needs to find her rightful place in society, you know. And you ain't going to get that. It starts with yourself. Once you know yourself, and you have to start loving yourself. Once you love yourself, then someone else will love you. But don't look to love her. Don't look for others to love you before you love yourself. It starts with yourself, and with that, you pass it on to your children, to your boy children and your girl children. You even show your children how to love your boy children. So that's really important.
Very, very, very quickly, the young people said it felt good to see the child being held. So we just quickly said that when our children feel supported and secure, it gives them better mental well-being. Yeah, when they feel nurtured. I wanted to put that in. And last but not least, is that the woman should feel proud of their role. And the men need to validate the role of women. Because in the society that we're in, they try to hide the woman and rubbish the role of the woman, but it needs to be uplifted. Yeah? And what is it? And she needs to be put in her rightful place. There you go. There you go.
Thank you. I want to say thank you for participating in that little exercise, because one of the things with the whole of this Black History Month is that my dearest hope is that after today you will go away with what you've heard, what you've participated in, and look at how can you bring the best out of yourself every single time, in any place, in any situation, anywhere. How you bring the best of yourself to the table. Because if the black woman, not if, the black woman is the mother. Me love my mother, and I'm telling you, you make a mistake with me, the last teeth. Because me love my mother. And everybody here should love their mother. Because none of us couldn't come on this planet here had it not been for mother. And so we must honor the woman. We must respect the woman. Because there's a saying, and your tears will be long. And there's another saying, well, we can go all the way down in that, but we're dealing with this tonight. So it's how you change yourself. Because we can't keep blaming others for the things that are happening to us. The only reason why it can happen is because we allow it to happen. And so for me, that's really what I want to say. What do you want to say? Well,
so, a lot of men love their mothers, they say they'll kill for their mothers, but the same way you love your mother, you must love your woman, the same way you love your mother. It's different love, but you know, the respect has to be both ways.
Well, I totally agree with you. See, you can't trouble my daughter. You trouble my daughter, me alone for you. And you better know. But me now, run over trouble you.
No, but you mustn't trouble anybody else's daughter.
I'm not troubling nobody's daughter. And even if I'm troubling someone, it ain't bad, you know what I do. That's the difference. And all I'm saying is that we've got to learn. Because you see, the woman is the foundation. And there's a saying, a nation can rise no higher than its woman. Because if the woman is up, the nation is up. If the woman is down, the nation is down. And that means there is a responsibility on women to make sure that you don't take no little precky smuddy wrong you for tell you say use other than what you eat.
That's right. Did you hear that? No precky smuddy.
I'm going to say it to you again. Because you need to hear it. Don't make no little precky. Somebody come turn you fool and then you are going like you don't know what going in a life. So, respect our children, teach our boys who they are, where they come from, the origin in the world. God said it. At one time, we taught the whole world what the world knows now. And then we forgot. And then we forgot that we forgot that we had forgot. Imagine that karate. You forget. Say you forget. Say you forget. So now you run around, somebody have to come find you. And I'm telling you, they don't make movies like The Lion King for nothing. They don't put those things on for nothing. Those movies like The Lion King is telling you something. And you are the lion. And you are the queens and the kings. And your children are the princes and the queens to come. So I'm going to finish off my part of this particular session with us just listening to this last part. And then I think we're just about done for the evening. And so I want us to take a listen to this man, because I think that this man really personified a lot of things. And I'll tell you something, you see that little island, Jamaica, is a lovely little place. Lovely little place. So let's listen to our brother
May I say something to you that gives you a true knowledge of yourself and life, so that the same glory and success attained by other men who understand themselves may be yours? Man in the full knowledge of himself is a superb and supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes master of his environment, the captain of his own ship, the director of his own destiny, the accomplisher of his own ends. Man should understand himself because man is full of knowledge, and this knowledge is a gift of nature. When Mother Nature created man, she deprived him of nothing. He was given the faculty of understanding all things around him. And this faculty for understanding has not been taken away from him. None of his senses have been taken away from him. So there is no excuse for the black man in lacking the knowledge that man has used to beautify the world and produce all that he needs for his happiness and civilization. Look the world over, and whatever you see in it that is pleasing to man, contributing to man's comfort, to his needs and to his satisfaction, it is but the work of man. Man blessed with the knowledge of himself and the understanding of all things around him. If you are able to live with the knowledge of yourself and with the greater knowledge of nature, you must know what is good and what is not. You must know what is finite. You must know that which is material, physical and otherwise is at your disposal to create or otherwise use. If we leave America and go over to the east of Japan, they will be telling their fellow citizens of Japan of the wonderful accomplishments of the Japanese people, proving that man is moving onward as time moves on. But you have hated yourselves as you have done in previous years. You have shown malice, prejudice, and hate to each other. And the result is that while other races have made progress, while India has made progress towards nationalism, while Ireland has made progress towards republicanism, while the whole world has made progress in man's accomplishments, you still stand fighting yourself, dishonoring yourself, showing no disposition toward that higher life, so that you will be abundantly blessed. So reflect and think that you were created for some purpose other than exhibiting malice toward your neighbor or fellow men of your own race. What a pity it is that we cannot stand united without a written law. There is no written law compelling other races to stand together. They are brought together by the gentle touch of nature. The unwritten law of nature causes them to stand together on all occasions. So wheresoever you find them in the field, that one gentle touch of nature causes them to stand together. If need be, die together. But with the black man, you can preach to him from the pulpit. You lecture from the platform, from the byways and the hedges. The spirit of cooperation, but he will not cooperate. You talk to him gently, you try talking harsh with him, he still will not cooperate. The result is that he falls prey to those who understand themselves and walk through the world making you their serf and slave. You must acquire an understanding of yourself. Look around you. See the smiling pictures of nature, the beautiful hedges, the wonderful mountains, the wonderful vegetation all around. But because of your disposition to each other, you live in suffering, in want, in penury, and in debt. You lack the gentle touch of nature, love for each other, you hate yourselves. Black men, what is wrong with you? Why have you no affection for yourselves? Could I hope to see you living among yourselves as the people I've spoken of, living in charity, love, and in sympathy with each other? It can be done. I wonder if you will adapt that course. Isn't it easier to enjoy prosperity than to live in ignorance and darkness? Why select the works of the nature? Nature never gave pain, suffering, and death to the world. It was man himself who selected death, pain, and sorrow. I wonder if I cannot inspire you to select between good and evil. Let me impress upon you once again that whatsoever your hardships may be, whatsoever your difficulties in life, they are your own selection. And so if you encourage them, if you husband them and take them to your bosom, they will abide with you. Nature will not take them away from you as Mother Nature did not give them to you. She is not responsible for your sorrows. Mother Nature represents all that is beautiful. She gave you the highest personality in the realm divine. Your sorrows are your own. If you want joy, if you want sunshine, it is before you abundantly in nature. I made a selection of sunshine, the beautiful sunshine. I made a selection to laugh with the moon, to laugh with the stars, and sing with the birds of the forest and of the wilderness, to join in the rhythmic music of the winds that sing from east to west and from north to south. And I selected sorrow. I would have been dead a long time ago, and been without that which would send me into the presence of the divine, because I would have lived not with the knowledge that is divine. We must acquire the higher knowledge of life. Black men and black women, will you get the knowledge that the white man has that causes him to be leaders and masters in the world? They are not gods with a peculiar source for understanding the world around them. They have only given expression to the knowledge of their humanity and been able to use and conquer all to their satisfaction and glory. And that is why they are always greater than you in every community that you find them. Isn't it strange that wheresoever the white man is found, he takes precedence over you? Why is that so? Answer that for yourself, black men and black women. Wheresoever you come in contact with the white man, you always have to go down in defeat before him. Whether it's in England, in France, or in America, you always have to go down to the white man, and yet he has 2 eyes, 2 feet, 2 hands, same passions, same senses and feelings that you have. Your feet are not put on opposite sides, now your hands turned around the other way. But it's because you fail to use your will, your knowledge and your mental faculties to the point where you will enjoy life around you. I'm only here and not in the gutters and in the pond of despair because I use my intelligence. And I swear that no man alive shall ever use his intelligence in understanding the works of nature more than I shall rise as high as he ascends. I shall meet him on the same platform of mental equality and fight him till thy kingdom come, because nature created us equal. I want you to make up your mind as I made up my mind years ago. Make up your mind that you will rise to the knowledge of your soul. Because of your ignorance, you cannot understand and decide between good and evil. You don't know whether you're doing right or wrong. With a greater knowledge of life, you're able to appreciate all things around you. I'm able to gather you here because I understand you. Understand your neighbor, your wife, your children, and you will be able to live in harmony with each other and get the best of the life.
So, even if we don't have buildings like this to come to, start inside your yard. That's where we got to start, inside your own home. Don't wait for someone else to come and do for you that which you can do for you. What I will say is, if you need any more information and to find out about what's going on, please see my sister, Julie Mohammed. She will take your details and she will make sure that you get in contact, she gets in contact with you. On the 22nd of November, we're having a parents' coffee morning, where you can come in the morning and you have a little coffee, you have a little 1.5, 2 hours, spend some little nice time with one another and just have a little chat. And so we're going to have those spaces on the 22nd. That's going to be in Lee. On Lee High Road. So we're going to be having that. So please give your details to Julie Mohammed. The organization that we run is called Ubuntu Social Living Networks. And Ubuntu means I am because we are. Therefore, because we are, I am. So with that, enjoy. Thank you for having me. It's been a wonderful, wonderful 4 weeks. And hopefully